Well, yeah, it's because it's like, dude, this is common fucking sense. And there's just not many people teaching common sense. It's certainly not at the academic level, I can promise you that. But no, you take the stimulus money idea, and people absorb this. They're like, oh yeah, it was all the irresponsible buying of the poors out there who took their stimulus money and bought new cars, at $1,200. I don't know whether. Anyway, so whatever. Let's go with the narrative. Those same people will never take that same high power perception or that illusion of perception and point that at, say, the rental house market. They'll never do that. They'll never use that same logic and say, yeah, a whole bunch of people went to the airport Marriott. They saw the guru tell them to buy a bunch of way overpriced houses, way overvalued, and pay anything to get into them. In fact, listening to brokers, real estate brokers, OnlyFans girls who are also real estate brokers, telling you to buy houses that don't even cash flow properly, like the correct way, the old school way of doing the real math on cash flowing a property and running it like a business. They don't even bother to do that. And so they overpay for these properties. And then when these properties start melting down, it's never like, oh, it's a bunch of idiots who paid too much money for these houses. It's, oh my God, the real estate market, there's something wrong. Quick, flood the country with a bunch of fucking illegals. Right? It couldn't possibly be overpaying for these properties, right? Couldn't possibly be that. Couldn't possibly be that you guys bought all these properties thinking that this would go on forever, right? And that you could just raise rents forever, even though the median income in the U.S., gross median income, hasn't really changed in the last little bit. It's $74,580. $74,580 gross. And that's oftentimes with two people working. Full-time plus, right? Those are the numbers. And like, you understand the math doesn't math there. I've done video after video on this. I don't know how many more video. It's why I'm kind of frustrated doing this. It's why like one of my like last week or something. That's the frustration is like, I don't know how many more different times I have to say this. Like I point this stuff out, and this is just math. But by the way, this is not a leftist thing or a rightist thing. This is a math thing, right? And this isn't any fun. But it's like, oh, but you're not fitting my narrative. Yeah, I know I don't fit your narrative. I know I don't fit your narrative. I don't fit either side's narrative. I get that. Because I'm pointing out reality, right? Nobody wants to live in reality. Of course they don't. Everybody wants to live in their fantasy world, and that's fine. You can do that, but your fantasy world is where you go. If you're doing drugs or something, go do that there. But you still have on Earth to deal with. You still have practical reality to deal with here. It's the same criticism that I level at a lot of Christians and have for many years. I'm not criticizing Christianity or anything. Christianity gets plenty of criticism, and it doesn't need me. It gets piled on by everybody else out there. I'm actually on your side, but I point out, many of you have gotten so heavenly minded, you're no earthly good. Dude, you have a practical reality to deal with here on Earth. This weird idea of that somehow, that you're waiting for something better to come along, or or worse, you're waiting for a Messiah. Lots of people doing that, not just Christians. That's lots of people. They're waiting for Trump. Trump's going to fix everything. Trump's going to be this one guy. We're going to vote for this one guy, and he's going to fix all this shit. No, he's not. Dude, come on. That's ridiculous that people even think that, or that Biden's going to fix it. Like, really? Come on. Same guy who said he would ban TikTok, said he would sign the bill to ban TikTok. Same guy. An app that of a bunch of, cat videos and shit like that. And of course, not to be forgotten, but people doing videos like this, right? Where we're just talking about reality and talking to one another on a level playing field. Yeah, we couldn't have that. We couldn't have that. So That's really it. Most people don't want to take that high powered perception that they've got. This is that you can see the thorn in someone else's eye, but you can't see the log in your own. That's where this comes from, right? That's where all of this bullshit comes from. It's very easy to point that stuff out and say, "Oh, look, it's all the fault of the poors. It's they spent all their stimulus money from like 4 years ago." Again, people are still pumping that idea, and there are people who still believe that shit. That's what's weird. Like they all think about like that just happened 2 months ago. No, dude, that's 4 years ago. That's long gone. Most people, all they did was, back then, if I recall, most everybody I knew that I didn't get one of those checks, by the way, just for the record, I never got one. But everybody I know that got one, what they did was they just paid all their bills with it. That's it. They did not go on exotic vacations, and they did not buy new cars. None of them. I don't know anybody who did that. So, if you're waiting on a Messiah, you're waiting for Superman, you're waiting for whatever. Comic book, I don't know. I don't know what you guys are waiting for. They're, waiting for someone else to do it, which is that's pretty common from what I can tell. And I realize I'm kind of running on this, but it's like this, but this is important. Simple conversations like this is the kind of conversation that if you had a dad, this would be the conversation your dad would be probably having with you. One of those dads that you see in the movies that actually has some wisdom. I know we don't show that anymore. We don't show that in movies anymore. That doesn't fit the narrative, right? That doesn't fit the narrative to actually find somebody with wisdom. That doesn't fit the narrative. So, but this would be what you would be hearing. Like, well, but I don't want to hear any of this. Yeah, I know. Well, I know. Nobody wants to hear this. Nobody wants to hear that you have to go do work and do shit, and be productive. Nobody wants to hear that. Fuck. That means you got to burn calories and what have you. That's not fun. That's not dick around on the internet all fucking day long. So